and taking all of the medicine, and I was CAT scanned and sonogrammed and x-rayed, and I forgot, I don't remember how many tests, dye shot into me and pictures taken again and all sorts of stuff. And I was just talking to my wife this afternoon, another problem developed after about 4 or 5 months on the medicine they'd put me on, and I'm still having a problem with it now. Kind of cleared it up a time or two, and I really think that one of the medicines they've got me on actually kills the microbes in my digestive tract. I really think they do, because there's no other reason for me to be having cramps across here. It started and I had got some pills of the stomach intestinal flora. I wasn't able to find but a pill that had but 8 of them in it in my local health food stores, and so I run across one that had all 16 and bought them, and I run out and I thought, well, I had such a supply, I ought to be well inoculated, but it's been about 3 or 4 months, and I'm starting to have these cramps across here again. None of the medical doctors knew what was the matter with me, and I took a hair sample and sent it off. And lo and behold, right before I died, I'd got so weak I couldn't move, I couldn't pick up 10 pounds, walk 50 feet, have to sit down and rest. So this has been 2 years ago now. I was toxic for arsenic, antimony, nickel, a little bit of lead. But strange thing about it, all of the arsenicals, weed killers, and cotton desicants and so on, happens to be organic arsenic. And so one of my retired fishing buddies had sold chemicals for years and years, and I think he's older than me, but I'm not sure. He swears up and down that wasn't where I got it, so I don't know where I got it, but we were treating wood with arsenic for a long time. Fields were sprayed with lead arsenate to control boll weevils, boll worms, and everything else. And even while I was in Hays County, there was an old house that hadn't been lived in 40 years that somebody broke the boarded up door down and went in and spent the night there, and the guy that had the place leased called me. He says, I found a barrel, and we went out there and took the cover off, and it was a barrel of lead arsenate. And I told him what to do, and when he called me back and told me that it was going to cost him $2,000 hazardous material to get rid of it, he boarded the door up. He said, I just have a place leased anyway, I'm not paying, and I guess he got by with it because he's died since then. He had been one of my county commissioners. And anyway, kind of an interesting story is you start trying to trace all of these things. Antimony is in everything from gunpowder smoke after you fired the gunpowder, and tobacco smoke and paint, to textile manufacturing, and it just goes on and on. Batteries and so on. Nickel the same way. Paint. It's in lubricants. And I've got some stuff on my hands right now that wouldn't come off today, a fiberglass resin. But anyway, I've learned that, when I get through lubricating everything, just go ahead and go use some waterless hand soap and do a good job of cleaning your hands. You don't want it on you. You don't want to get sick. But back to when I got this results, it came in on Wednesday. I had a doctor's appointment the next morning. I took it with me. I was all proud, and when I went to show it to the doctor, he said, don't hear about it. And I said, but, and he said, don't hear about it. He says, we're getting along okay, and I'm sitting there wobbling. I'm so weak, on this table. So I went home, picked up the phone, and called a man in Coral Gables, Florida, and I told him, I said, send me 12 bottles of your calcium disodium EDTA. Now, if I hadn't had 30 years in agriculture better, and knew about chelating iron and zinc and copper and stuff to get it into our plants so that they can use it when they're deficient, I wouldn't known about chelation. But I had heard a medical doctor talking about on the radio out of San Antonio, a Dr. Eva Sneed, who had her license pulled. And I know why now, because she talked about giving chelation therapy. And folks, it's the greatest thing in the world. The Germans developed it in the 30s. Our own FDA approved it in 1943. And I don't know, do y'all handle it here in the store?
Yes.
Folks, it prevents high cholesterol, clears your arteries, prevents bypass heart surgery, and the list goes on and on and on. I just got another hair. I take leaf samples off of my peach trees and send them to the lab every year so I know what to feed them. And I'm going to have to get my outline out in a minute or I'll wander around all over the place here. But anyway, I have started doing that for myself. I take my hair and send it every 6 months. And I have got all of these heavy metals. Nickel was 96 percentile. That's how high I was. I was 94, 95 on arsenic and antimony. In other words, I was that far from death, and my doctor didn't want to hear about it. It's funny, a couple of months later I was back in there and I'd already gained 5 or 6 pounds, because I got the chelation material, I think it was about a February 1st, almost, you know, we're almost there now. And by the end of March, I was able to handle 2 tons of K-Mag, because I needed the potassium, magnesium for my trees. And I was able to handle those 50-pound bags and put it all out by myself. 60 days before, I couldn't pick up 10 pounds. And you don't know how many people in San Marcos that knows me was wanting to know where to get and what I was taking. Because there must have been 200 people thought I was about dead or dying. And a lot of people was real worried about me. And I was too. And it was funny then, you know, along about May, the doctor said, boy, we're kicking this in the hind end. We got you going. I said, what do you mean we? You didn't have anything to do with it. You didn't want to know about it. And I don't know what you got against it. And he said, well, I think hair analysis is rather hokey. And he is retired and I'm not seeing him again. What's funny, hair analysis through my chiropractor cost me about 60 bucks. Dr. Joel Wallach's book said they charged $100. You know, rare earths and forbidden diseases. If you've never read it, find it and get a copy and read it for your own good sake. It's going to tell you no sugar and none of the artificial sugar either. You know, they got stevia or whatever. I just looked up. Well, the yellow package, what is it?
Splenda.
Splenda. That's a mild or light DDT, if you look up and check. Huh?
What? DDT?
Yeah. Pesticide.
I use that all the time.
Congratulations on being here.
It's a good thing